Miss Irby, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I read your
Hello.
book. Hello,
Sheldon.
how are you doing? Hello. I read your book. I bought your book,
Thank
and
you.
during this time, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. It was a great book. And during that time, because you talk about when you and the group are about to part ways, and it brings me back to all of those 70s and 80s groups when you always had like one standout person. It might have been like a Jeffrey Osborne or someone. It was always conflict to where the group would try to go ahead and hold them back. Like he had an opportunity for a solo situation, but the group stopped him, so he had to wait out an entire year to go out and have a solo career. And
Mhm.
I noticed that in your book when you were I just want to just go back and just paraphrase it.
Okay.
The deal was if you were offered some kind of financial situation, some kind of deal, they wanted to make sure that everyone was included. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So when they offered me the Motown contract, because Motown and MCA and Motown were still part of the same company, it was all Universal. Universal wanted to be sure before they gave Climax a new contract that I was still going to be included in that. So we all had a meeting. And our attorney for the group, Ron Sweeney, was like, Joyce, you have to come to this meeting. I'm like, Ron, they're going to kick me out. He said, I need you to come to this meeting. Okay. So I sat there and MCA asked them, is this contract going to include everybody that's in the room right now? They were like, yes. And I'm thinking, I bet they're lying, but this is what happened. So after that, they drew up the contract. And they had given them in advance. I didn't even know about. They had given them in advance of, I don't know what it was, but I found this out later after the fact, that they had already divided up the advance. And then they told, and then I got a call from the lawyer saying the group was going to lose their deal if I didn't do something. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm recording songs for us and for myself. So make a long story short, when Gerald Busby went to Motown, and Lowell Silas Jr. took over MCA. Um, he was happy because he had Bernadette doing a solo album. And he said, when they did the contract and my name wasn't on it, he said, well, we're going to just give them one shot because I want to do that. And so the people that cared about Climax basically were gone. And Lowell was like, well, I got Bernadette and I'm going to give them one shot. And they did. They had a song called Good Love and then it got dropped. After that, and I went on and did well with the one record I did have on Motown. But yeah, they were like, I guess, looking at longevity into the future, which I said to them, this is a bad business decision. It just makes no sense. It's just, you're not thinking, you're just mad, you're not thinking. And I always wanted us to be in a position where everybody can we all just own a home? Can we own a home and just stop being broke? And we were right there. And then,
Yeah.
Now, this time is 1988. So obviously the music is changing, and you're seeing around the corner because you're able to see around the corner. And at this time, obviously the solar situation is disappearing. Dick Griffey
yeah.
is focusing on Africa. Solar, they're losing their
Yeah.
situation. They're with Electra, then they actually move on. So then
And
now
also,
you're
let me
in
say this. Let me
1988.
let
So
me
you
say
see
one
the
one thing about Dick. Let me say one thing about Dick Griffey. He is responsible also for Dr. Dre, Snoop, all of that stuff that I think Suge took over. Dick Griffey had all of them. And something happened, and I think he said something like, I'm really too old for this. And then he went and bought most of Africa. But he doesn't get credit for that. That's a whole nother situation. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember that. It was like they used his studio with everything else to kind of refine their situation, and people kind of the way the deal was, and they kind of just basically took it over and moved on. So he was on the ground floor of that. Yes.
yep, he
So
was.
so so think about 88. So you're there, and then obviously the music is starting to change. The adult contemporary R&B is shifting into a more younger vibe. And
Yeah,
in your book, talk about when you encounter Dallas, but you're taking excerpts from your musical influences, Duke Ellington, Take the A
yep.
Train, the music,
Yep,
music
swing.
arrangements, things of that nature,
Yeah.
the swing. So when you are showing him this, exposing him to this, are you aware of what's going on the East Coast with the New Jack Swing situation? Are you making the connections, and can you explain how that's working out?
Well, I knew he wanted to be basically Teddy Riley.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard his tracks, I was like, I mean, he had everything, just chords, little drum patterns, and simple melodies. And I was like, that's great, but let's expand what you do a little bit. And I had him to listen to da 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 da. So even in Motown Philly, you can hear da 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 da. All of that is just swing, basically. And plus, I played like a tenor saxophone, so I was like, we got to have the horns. Still, horns had a place like in New Jack or whatever, or in that kind of swing. And so I wanted him to. He was potentially so big. And I have a copy of Video Soul with Donnie Simpson that I did, where I said, I have signed a genius. His name is Dallas Austin, and he's going to take over everything, pretty much. But he wanted to be Teddy, and I mean, he had the skills for it early on. There were some things he didn't know because he hadn't had any experience, but he had all the tools. He came with all the tools, just a little refinement. And most people for almost 2 years at labels told me he was too something. I was like, okay, whatever. Y'all are just giving me a headache. He was too something. I don't know, too something.
I mean, how did you find him though? No, I just wonder how you found him.
He was sitting on the porch. There was a band that I also signed called Princess and Starbreeze, and he was a friend of the light man, Monye. And he was sitting on the porch, and they were like, oh, you need to meet Dallas. He was like maybe 15, 16. And I was like, okay, because I want to meet everybody. And he had a little keyboard. He was like, yeah, listen to some of my songs. And I was like, I need to sign him like right now. Yes.
Was he old enough to sign at 15, 16?
No. We had to do another agreement right after he turned 18. But he spent all that time getting rejections. And I'm thinking, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm going to pay for all the studio time. You just keep recording and it's going to be fine. And that's what happened.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
And somewhere in between
us, or even loving us, on which I did miss you.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay.
They don't understand what Joyce's voice meant in all spirits.
Play it.
And all these guys, they all work together.
I mean, I love all different genres.